As we've been doing the entire month of May, before we get started on the video, we're going to be talking about our featured content creator. Today's featured content creator is May Storybook, and her name is on her profile, and I'm so sorry if I pronounce this wrong. Maya Lee. I'm going based off of how it's spelled. I also don't know how to pronounce letters that have that little triangle on top. I don't know the correct term for that accent, but Maya, we're talking about her today. Genuinely one of my favorite content creators, especially as a librarian, but even before I was a librarian, like all of my books back there, all of her content is about kid lit, which is kid literature, and it's very important books. It's not just like fun, silly storybooks. She has tons of videos. She makes them every year about books specifically targeting like AAPI Heritage Month, like different things to teach kids about their specific cultures. She does it for Black History Month. She does tons of books about physical disabilities and mental disabilities. She has everything. She also has links in her description which take you to like coupon codes, like places she goes and does talks. She's also a child psychologist, I think is what her info said. She's fucking incredible. You need to go check her out, because the thing is, I'm a strong believer, I think I've made a couple videos about this, that literature that can only be enjoyed by children isn't great literature. Everybody should be able to enjoy it. I have tons of kids' books, and I actually have a bunch on my desk right now that I've already checked out from the library that I'm reading. None of them are like groundbreaking. The ones I have right now are like summer ween and fun shark facts, but those are still fun, and some of them can be educational, and she always has educational books, even if it's like a fun story. It's not specifically like nonfiction. She always has fun stories that are still super educational and help kids learn about how to take care of themselves, how to treat the world, how to treat each other. Fantastic. I'm absolutely in love with her. Please go check her out. Hello, Friendsies. Welcome back to the channel. I don't feel like filming today. I got all ready, sat down, scrolled on my phone. I don't want to do it. I want to lay down after this, but I actually have a cat tree that I have to build for my precious child. So let me say my piece. Let me try not to make this too long, because this is going to be one of those videos that I'll just repeat myself over and over again if I make it too long. But I don't know what the title is going to be, because I think I had a funny clickbaity title in mind and then forgot it by the time I got the chance to write down this idea in my planner. But I just want to talk really quick about how everybody in the world is mean to teenagers, and it's so unnecessary. I talk about this, I feel like, often, but I wanted a video to be kind of focused on it, because I've said in a couple videos that things have gotten hectic in April. And that's because, and I'm not saying me, because it's not me, I'm not the parent in the situation, but I am an adult in the household. I'm somebody over 18 living in the household. My household is going to be raising a teenager pretty much from now forward until that teen is 18, maybe older. Like, we want this teen to be in our household and be safe and cared for and loved, right? And I always feel this way because I remember being a teenager, and like, I'm on two sides of this. I remember being a teenager, and I make the jokes of like, I should have been bullied more, which I obviously don't. I don't mean it seriously. There's some things that I'm like, that was just the undiagnosed autism. I didn't need to be treated that way because I acted XYZ or said XYZ. Somebody could have been like, hey, no, but I didn't need to actually be bullied more. I just, that's a stupid joke I make. But also, I also remember being a terror at 15, 16, 17, at 14 to 17. I think by 17, I was just too depressed to deal with anything else. So I come from the two sides of like, teenagers are in fact terrors, but also everybody is far too mean to teenagers. And I still think everybody is too mean to teenagers. I've seen like, I haven't actually done the research, but I've seen plenty of things talking about how like biologically and like evolutionary, is that the word I'm looking for? In all of that, teenagers are supposed to be terrors. It's survival instincts. It's to ensure that like there's no inbreeding. If you look at the history of humanity, it's to ensure those things. It's also to ensure that like, yes, teenagers sleep all day and then they're up all night getting up to nonsense. Well, it's because like, back when we were cavemen fighting with sticks and rocks, it was so that there was a shift on the night to take care of the colony. I don't know, what do I call the groups of humans? There was always a night shift. While everybody else did things during the day and took care of the young and everything, there was a middle shift that was supposed to take on the night. The moodiness and the attitude and everything is like an evolutionary thing to ensure that there was no inbreeding. Like, and that's like even crazier when you think about the way this world is in this country with child brides, right? So I feel like everybody does the thing. Everybody talks about kids and talks about like adults, because like young adulthood, especially in the world that we live in now, like I remember turning 20 and being like, oh, thank God I'm an adult now. But then people being like, if stuff goes wrong in your 20s, just remember, because there was a whole thing about like, if you're 20, you're a brand new adult, you're 0 years old. If you're 21, you're a 1-year-old adult. That thing. So it's like, be kind to yourself. If things go wrong in your 20s, everything goes wrong in your 20s. But if things go wrong in your 20s, be kind to yourself. But then it's like people with toddlers, and it's like, hey, don't forget, if they're a year or two old, they've only been on this earth for a year or two. So I feel like there's understanding and like kindness and grace attributed to very small children, which there should be, and people in their 20s, which they should be. Everybody deserves grace and calm. Nobody does that with teenagers. Nobody has any grace for teenagers. If they're like a 15-year old fucking up and doing nonsense, they've only been here for 15 years. They don't know shit. They know more than the 2-year-old does, but they don't know what I know at 30. They need to be given grace. I'm not trying to make comments on parenting, but a lot of it is people don't have grace or patience for any children, but especially when their children get old enough to make their own decisions to a certain extent and have their own opinions. It's like you can kind of deal with like the terrible twos and the three-nagers, and like they get a little bit older and it's a little easier. But it's like as soon as kids hit the teenage age, nobody knows what to do with them anymore because they have their own thoughts and opinions. They are testing authority in stronger ways that don't just get solved with like a timeout or like sitting and talking with them. Sometimes it's pushing harder at those boundaries and people don't know what to do with them because people didn't really know what to do with them as children. You know what I mean? And then people result to being mean and doing mean things. And that's not cool. And that's not what we want to do in this household. Like I said, there is 4 adults in this household. And if anything, I am in the fun aunt position where discipline or consequences are not my thing to control. However, I was also recently, but like, 15 years ago, which is still better than the other adults in my house that are mid-30s, late 30s, and 60s. I'm more closely recently a teenager. And I remember a lot of those thoughts and feelings. And also the teenager and I'm just saying it this way because their identity and their situation does not need to be broadcasted. But they and I have similar experiences with things they're going through right now. There's like school right now. So we're doing school, but the summer is coming and we're going to be spending a lot more time with the teenager in our household. And our goal and what we hope they see is that there are people that love and care about them, and crazy antics don't need to be done to get attention that is kindness and love. But that's kind of the main thing. It's like kindness and love need to be really enforced, because again, I feel like we do that with people with very young children. The like, I'm like, I am upset with you, but I don't hate you, like that kind of thing. And then like, again, like in your 20s, I feel like a lot of people are like, talk to your friends, reach out to your friends, da da da. And like the closeness and love and relationships and kindness, I feel like are pushed very much towards the extreme ends of ages and not in the middle, where again, we need that. People need to be treated with kindness and love across the board. And teenagers get so much flack and get treated like so much shit because everybody is frustrated that they have their own thoughts and opinions, and it's disrespectful to question authority and blah, 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 and it's bullshit, and it's not fair. And the thing is, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like, when I'm working and I see teenagers walk into the building, I'm immediately suspicious because what are you doing here? I don't see you here regularly to come read. And that's not fair. We shouldn't immediately be suspicious of kids. And like, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I see all the teenagers, I see all the teachers and parents talking about how teenagers these days are a different breed and like, I am not doubting you. I believe you. And again, I'm not innocent. When I see kids walk into the library, I'm like, what are you up to? So I'm not going to pretend like I don't, but I also, I think it was like when I first started working at the library, it was like 3 or 4 months in. It was kids that I guess had done something or like had been disruptive and somebody thought it was worse than it was, something like that. And a cop came to the library, and like, I mean, I'm not talking to cops anyway, but I'm especially not going to rat out a couple of kids. And I think I had seen the kids come in. They were out of sight, out of mind. They weren't like off to the side. And also, like, I'm not allowed to tell people, oh yeah, so-and-so is here. But like, you know what I mean? It was a whole thing. And the cop was like, oh, da-da-da, you seen these kids? And I was like, no. Because I'm also not about to rat out a couple kids. Unless they come to my library with a fucking knife and they're threatening me, it's not my business. If you're in here being respectful and quiet and not destroying property, even if you're hiding out, that's fine. I don't give a fuck. Leave them alone. I used to like, my brothers obviously got into more shenanigans than I did because I was fat and undiagnosed autistic, so I didn't have a lot of shenanigans to get into, right, when I was a teenager. But like, even walking around town with my friends, we were literally just walking around eating snacks, talking. And I remember people being like suspicious and weird about a group of teenagers walking around town, and that's not fucking fair, you know? Or like just going to the park to hang out and swing on swings, because the last time we got to do that was when recess was still a thing and people were weird and suspicious of us. It's like, leave us the fuck alone, Karen. Drive home in your minivan to pick up your kids that you don't like and they don't like you. Leave us alone. So yeah, I just want to I want to make my stance on the fact that like, I'm protective of teenagers, even though I'm suspicious as well. I'm protective of them, and I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to keep my eyes open and I'm going to be aware, but I'm also not going to be like, what are you doing here? Because that's weird and that's gross. And the thing is, the funny thing about teenagers is the more you provoke them, the more they're going to show you there's a reason that you provoked them. You know what I mean? When you're like, what are those kids getting up to? They're like, let me show you what I can get up to because I was doing literally nothing. I know this might sound weird, but like I said, I talked about in a couple videos that April got like crazy, and there was a lot going on in April, and a lot of it was having a teenager in my household, becoming an adult that's helping to raise a teenager, which is very unexpected. I feel like a lot of people don't go through that unless they've gone down a path where they are intentionally looking for that. This was a very like fall into our lap things, and it doesn't matter because we are going to take care of this teenager. I'm like being kind of weird too because they're also, I don't think they can hear me from here, but they're in the living room. I think they're playing, what was it, Freezeria? The Papa's Freezeria? So. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. And don't forget to check out May's storybook. I'm missing a word. It's gonna be there. It is gonna be there, but don't forget to go check her out. She's incredible, and I really like all of the book suggestions. I send them to my friend who has 2 small children, and she bookmarks all the ones that are like really cool. She's done videos about books about like kids with autism and everything, which is fantastic because those are ones that I keep putting on to read lists because I want to see parts of myself in childhood and be like, I remember doing that. Not diagnosed, but peer-reviewed. So don't forget to go check her out. Did I say everything? I think I said everything. Things are getting loud. My brother's coming home. The dog is barking, so I'm going to go now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!